Hi, my name's Brian McGregor. I'm from the UK and have about 20 years of international business experience. Now I live here in Colombia near Bogota and I help professionals improve their English, especially where business is concerned. CVs, interview practice, covering letters, I can help you with that if you like. But what I want to do today is show you 7 topics that I have found that people have a difficulty with when they are trying to improve their English. Common mistakes that are made. So let me jump to the slides here and I'll go through those with you. Okay, so top English issues that my students generally have when they come to me. Firstly, we'll look at words beginning with the letter S, often mispronounced. We will look at words that start with CH, SH, and also that have an I or an EE inside them. We'll look at past tense regular verbs and words that begin with a V or a B. We'll also look at when to use ing and when to use to when we have two verbs together. We'll look at prepositions for place and time. And finally, some hypothetical words. Firstly, let's look at words beginning with the letter S. Very often, instead of hearing speak, I hear people saying speak. They speak Spanish or speak Spanish. School as well. So these words on the right-hand side is not how to say them. We do not say them with the letter E in front of them. You don't say salsa. So why do you say speak or Spanish or school? Keep it simple. Drop the E in front of words beginning with S. It seems to be words that begin with an S followed by a consonant. So, speak, Spanish, school. Next, let's look at some words that start with a CH and an SH. This is chip, ship, sheep, cheap. Now, a chip in the UK is one of these. Some people call them French fries. Of course, we have computer chips, and in the US, we have these type of potato chips, or North America, I should say, where it is the sliced potato rather than chopped into long strands. And of course, there's this little guy from Beauty and the Beast. His name is Chip. Now, if you see that little bit that's missing from the top of Chip there, that is called a chip. That is called a chip. So if you have chipped plates, they have little bits missing from them. And I think that's probably why this character was given his name. Then we have ship. Now, what is the difference? Now, with a CH, we have the sound ch. The tip of your tongue will touch the top of your mouth behind your front teeth. Ch, chip. For the other one, the large boat, we have the word ship. It's a very similar sound, shh, but in this case, the tip of your tongue does not touch the top of your mouth. Shh. So the first one, chip. The second one, ship. Also, pay attention to this letter here. The letter I is pronounced I. So this is ip, ip. It's not eep, it's ip. If you think about Shakira, for example, she had a song talking about the hips don't lie. She didn't sing the heaps don't lie, the hips don't lie. So this is chip and ship. Next we have sheep and cheap. So again, we've got the SH and CH sounds. The animal, shh, sheep. If you don't like to spend a lot of money or something doesn't cost much money, it is cheap. So both of these middle parts to the words are pronounced E. So you've got a double E is E and the EA is E as well. Sheep, cheap. So let's look at all 4 words here. We have sheep, cheap, ship, and chip. Let's move on to past tense regular verbs. There are 3 different sounds for ed. Now, to know how to say these in the past, we need to look at how we say things in the present. So let's take some words like this. Link becomes linked. Linked. Now, you may have heard of the website LinkedIn. We do not say LinkedIn. So the end of this word, link, and the next one, launch, they have what we call unvoiced endings. Look at the letters in red. We do not use our vocal cords to say those letters. Link, k, and then launch, ch. It does not use your vocal cords. Now, if you're not sure, put your hand on your chest just below your throat and say those sounds. It will not vibrate your throat. So we have linked and launched. Linked and launched. The second sound for ed is when it sounds like a D for Delta. Deliver becomes delivered. Now take that letter R in deliver. If you put your hands to the top of your chest, below your throat, and you say you will feel that vibration. It's using your vocal cords. So we want to say delivered. Move becomes moved. So if we were to try and write it, now, of course, in the speech bubble, that's not how we spell it, but it might sound like delivered and moved. So that's a D for Delta sound. Now be careful. I've heard a lot of people saying this with a T sound, but it's not correct. D is also using your vocal cords. Take the Spanish word, for example, usted. Usted. We don't say usted. And we don't say delivered or moved. It's delivered, moved. And in Spanish, usted. So use a D for Delta sound where the end of the verb has a voiced sounding. In other words, uses your vocal cords at the end of the infinitive of the verb. And lastly, we have the sound id, when ed sounds like id. This is where we have a T or a D sound at the end of the verb in the present tense. Wait becomes waited. Graduate becomes graduated. So that's when we have a T sound at the end. It will either end with a T or TE. And then we have for the letter D at the end, or the D sound at the end. We have end becomes ended. Divide becomes divided. So those are the 3 different sounds that you will have on regular verbs. It will never be ed. So I don't want to hear pushed. It's pushed. Cleaned? No, it's cleaned. So think about the 3 endings that you have for the verbs. Next up, this is definitely a problem for Spanish speakers. I notice this a lot here in Colombia. The letter V and B, we pronounce these very differently. Notice I say very differently and not berry differently. Berry, well, that's a fruit. So make sure you distinguish these. The letter V, top teeth on your bottom lip. Similar to an F, but using vocal cords. Okay? So the position of your mouth will be exactly the same as you do for an F, but you use your vocal cords. V. Secondly, with B, you're going to have your bottom lip on the top lip for the letter B. So we have a ban, like there's a smoking ban, meaning prohibited. And we have a van, a vehicle. If you said these exactly the same way with a B sound, then it would be ban and ban. Well, they're 2 different words, 2 different spellings, 2 different meanings. We say them differently as well. So be careful how you use that. Next up, when to use ing and when to use to when we have 2 verbs together. You can take a sentence like, he wants to travel. We don't say he wants traveling, and we say he enjoys traveling. Now, we can say he enjoys to travel. So what is the rule? When do we use to travel and when do we use traveling? Well, basically, it comes down to whether we're looking at the future or experience. If we're looking to the future, then we're going to use to and then the verb. He wants to travel. In the future, he wants to travel. But if we're talking about experience, or we're speaking of experience that we've had, we will use the ing. He enjoys traveling. We know that because he's done it before. Now let's just take a look when we use the word stop followed by a verb. Do we use to take or taking? If we take a sentence that says, I must stop to take my medicine, this implies that I must stop what I'm doing right now and start a future new process, take my medicine. On the other hand, if I say I must stop taking my medicine, this implies that I have been taking my medicine, I no longer need it, it's no longer good for me, I must stop taking it. So as you can see here, the first sentence suggests to have the medicine, the other suggests we don't have to take the medicine. In fact, stop taking the medicine. Prepositions, time and place. Let's look at time first. Now, these are general rules. There are always exceptions to the rules. But in general, we will use in for a duration. In 2022, if you talk about COVID-19, it was discovered or released, whichever way you want to look at it, in 2019. We will use on for specific days, on your birthday, on your anniversary, on Saturday. And we will use at for specific times, at 9 o'clock. So you might have a meeting at 9 o'clock on Monday. Nice way to start your week. And then, as I said, in for durations. Now, durations can be months, it can be years. We could say we are in the 21st century right now. And place. We will use in, meaning inside something. On for on the surface of something. And at meaning beside. So let's take the example of a lake. If you are in the lake, you are submerged in the water. If you are on the lake, you are maybe on a boat. You're on the surface of the water. Maybe the lake's frozen and you can walk across it. Or maybe you're Jesus and you can walk on water. If you are at the lake, you are beside the lake. Your feet are dry. You're not actually getting wet. And lastly, let's look at hypothetically speaking. Would, could, should. Now, these are words that I hear mispronounced all the time. We do not say the letter L when we are using these words. So make sure that when you say these words, it's more like this. Would, could, should. Now, of course, in the speech bubble there, that is not the correct spelling. I'm just trying to write them so you can understand how to say them. Would, could, should. So that's all. We covered words beginning with S. Don't put an E in front of it. CH and SH, ch and sh. And then letter I is an I, whereas the EE is E. We covered the 3 different endings for past tense regular verbs. Do not say ed on the end of any regular verbs. It's going to be a T sound, a D for Delta sound, or an id sound. V and B, we make sure that you pronounce those differently. We looked at when to use ing and when to use to in front of a verb when we're talking about the future, using to, or ing or experience. And then we looked at prepositions for time and place. And then, of course, the pronunciations for would, could, and should. If you have any questions on these, please put them below and I'll try to answer them for you. Of course, if you have any suggestions about other content that you would like me to make, let me know and I'll see what I can do for you. Take care. Bye-bye.